Hi.
Welcome, Sheryl. Good to see you again.
Sorry, it took me a minute to call in. It wasn't dialing in for some reason.
Well, we're so glad
All
that
yours.
we are glad that you're here. So I'm just going to do a very
Yeah.
brief introduction of you because I think most people know who you are for our viewers, but
Well,
you
it's hey on.
are
Yes.
the Chief Operating Officer at Meta, overseeing the firm's business operations and also on the board of directors. So thank you for being here this afternoon with us. I wish you could be here in person. We're probably having rainbows right now. We just had a downpour and then the sun came out. So you're missing some of the Emerald City's beauty. But let's dive right into our questions.
Well, before I do that, let me just thank you for having me. I'm excited to be with this amazing audience. Thank you for hosting the roundtable you and I did earlier this morning. And I'm sorry not to be there in person. As I said, I've been sitting on this chair for like a year and a half, but it's better to visit at least virtually. So excited to be with you today.
Absolutely, and glad that we can connect you with our community here in Seattle. So why does Meta care about Washington State and Seattle specifically, and how has the company invested here?
So you all don't need me to tell you that Seattle is a tech hub. A lot of cities want to be a tech hub. Seattle is a tech hub. There are over 200,000 tech professionals, and it's been a real epicenter for innovation and creative talent. From some of the biggest companies to some of the smallest companies are all in the Seattle area. And Seattle has been a really important place for Meta. Previously Facebook, now Meta. I'm getting used to saying that. This is one of my first chances to do it. We've launched some amazing products there. We have a really big presence building groups and communities. We launched our marketplace product. We started our gaming product. I joined then Facebook, now Meta in 2010. I joined in 2008. In 2010, we opened our office with 3 engineers, 3. We now have 7,000. So I don't know what percentage growth that is, but that's pretty amazing. And it's our second largest engineering hub outside of Menlo Park, California. We've also really been proud to be a part of the community as we've grown in the Seattle region. We've really prioritized supporting the community. When COVID hit, we donated $400,000 in ad credits to the King County Department of Health and the Washington Department of Health to help get critical COVID information out to the public. We are a founding member of the Tabor 100 Black Business Equity Fund. We've committed over $600,000 to the Seattle region nonprofits, working to address systemic barriers to racial equity and injustice in the part of the racial justice grants we made after George Floyd. And something I'm really proud of, we sit on the technology committee of Mary's Place. A lot of tongue twisters today. A nonprofit that provides safe and inclusive shelter for women and children experiencing homelessness. So we care about the Seattle community because we're part of that community and because it's been such a huge part of the hiring we've been able to do and the great products we've been able to build.
Thank you. So we all know the pandemic has devastated small businesses. We've seen it left and right, including those here in Seattle. How can Meta help small businesses during this challenging time?
So small businesses are the heart of what we do at Facebook. At Meta, still new, but our Facebook products and our Instagram products, our marketplace products, our Messenger, WhatsApp, we connect people. And as part of that, we connect people with businesses in their local community. And small businesses are the heart of local communities. They create more than 50% of jobs. I don't know if people realize that. Small businesses create more jobs in our economy in every city in the country than large businesses. And they're very much the heart of what we do. But this has been a rough year and a half. COVID is a health crisis. COVID is an economic crisis. COVID is a gender equality crisis. And COVID is, I know, something that matters to this audience that works on so many important issues of gender and identity. But COVID is also a crisis for SMBs. We fielded our 8th Global State of Small Business report. Our first survey was in May of 2020, but we just fielded the 8th. And here's what it says. In Washington, in your state, 14% of SMBs were closed. Now that's down from 23% in February, so that's way better, but 14% is still a lot. 36% of SMBs in Washington this summer were reporting lower sales than the year before, and 25% of SMBs in Washington reported having to lay off workers. Things are getting better, but they are still really bumpy. Now, what do small businesses need and how can we help? We help them go online. For small businesses, it's prohibitively expensive to put yourself online, but you can set up a Facebook business page, an Instagram business profile in minutes for free. And most people already know they're doing it. And we're now doing even more to provide free tools. We're testing a new SMB badge so people know they're supporting a small business when they click on that page. And we're launching something called the Good Idea Shops, making it easier for people to discover local SMBs in their community. A lot of people want to support SMBs, but online, how do you know who is an SMB? We're providing digital skills training, and we're also providing cash, including cash in the Seattle area, to small businesses to keep the lights on. And as you and I heard earlier today, Mark, it really matters. You and I met, maybe you've met him before, but I met today, Eric Wilson, who runs group fitness classes in Seattle in person. So when COVID hit, social distancing forced him to focus on smaller group classes and virtual training. So he used the grant money from our grants to buy exercise equipment for custom client workouts. And then he used personalized ads to reach people interested in exercise classes and fitness. And he found new customers through this period for personal training sessions, and it helped him stay in business. That's the kind of impact we want to have.
Wonderful, thank you. So for a small business that has no website and no experience with digital marketing and online advertising, what concrete advice do you have?
Well, the concrete advice is to make sure you get yourself online. Just as we spoke about, you've got to just get a digital presence so that you can start reaching people. Then you need to know how to reach people. So we try to provide digital skills training. We pivoted our SMB training, which a lot of it was in person. We do it all online now, and 100 million people tuned in 2020, including a lot of people like Eric in local areas. And we're also help providing cash to keep the lights on. But what really matters is what small businesses need to do, which is get online and experiment. There's no perfect post. We've all seen people's posts on Facebook and Instagram. Some are better than others. Some are funnier than others. Some are more engaging, right? Just post, try it, see what works, and keep building from there.
You mentioned Mary's Place already, and you're known to be an advocate for women. How do you think the pandemic has impacted women entrepreneurs and women-owned small businesses?
Well, look, women-owned small businesses have been impacted more. So have businesses that are owned by any group that's traditionally been discriminated against. COVID's a crisis for women and gender equality. In October, the unemployment rate for men fell from 4.7 to 4.3%, but it rose for women from 4.2 to 4.4%. And women of color, Black women, are the furthest behind in the recovery. And they're lagging their pre-pandemic employment levels by 5.3% versus 3% for all adults. Now, why? Because they have all the biases on gender, and then they have all the biases on race, and the intersection of those provides even more that they have to overcome. In our State of Small Business report, 19% of women-led SMBs in Washington state were closed versus 10% of small businesses led by men. My foundation, Lean In, we put out the largest study of its kind. And what we found is that women were working a double shift before the pandemic, doing work outside their homes and then doing the majority of childcare and housework in their homes. Well, then when COVID hit, they're doing a double shift. And that is what we need to do to support women through this pandemic. We need government to have better public policies. We have some of the worst leave policies in the world. We need companies to do better by their employees by really helping women and families and men and people with every sort of form of family needs. There are so many right now. And we need individuals. We need people to step up and do their share in the home and in the office.
We know it'll be a long road to rebuild our economy post-pandemic. We all hoped, I think, we'd be further along by now, and all the challenges that came with the variants put a stall on that. But what do you hope we prioritize as we rebuild?
Oh, I hope we prioritize helping people find the products and services in their community that they want to find. In the roundtable you and I did, some of the small businesses in your community talked about how people, when they understood the products they were selling, they understood that they were going to build things that really helped other people. They, tried harder to understand those products, and they were able to really connect with their customers. You and I talked to Sarah Kloss today, and she runs this company, which started from tragedy. Her mother was diagnosed with cancer. She needed candles to help her through her treatment, and the candles were making her sick. So Sarah, as a side project, decided to design things that would be healthy for her mom. And she started making these amazing candles, these all natural, beautiful, beautiful products. And then she started selling them. And people understanding her story, understanding that this is not just a candle. This is resilience. This is family. This is community. I think really, really, really made a difference. And that is what we are continuing to see and continuing to let people do.
So thank you for all those answers. We also have some questions that we got from our audience, and I'm going to switch into those right now. So as a social media platform, Meta holds a lot of personal information about the people who use it. Why should consumers and small businesses trust Meta to handle this information securely and ethically?
Well, this is a really important question, and I want to thank the person in the audience who asked it. Again, I'm sorry I can't see you in person. But it's our responsibility to protect people's privacy, and it's a very top priority for us. We've invested very heavily in our technology and how we've designed privacy into our products. So for example, we have a privacy checkup tool with a few tabs. People can control things like who can see what they share and how to keep their accounts secure. Now, we've learned a lot over the years, and privacy has really evolved. And so now we're building privacy technologies into the next generation of digital advertising. And as we think about going into places like the metaverse, like AR and VR, we're building privacy in from the beginning. But what's also really important is you don't have to take our word for it. An independent third-party assessor regularly examines our privacy programs, reports their findings to the FTC, and we regularly roll out updates so that people can see the privacy of the tools. It's really important to us, if I share a photo today on Facebook, I might want to share it just with my mom. I might want to share it, Mark, just with you and the few people who did the roundtable, or I might want to share it with a whole global audience. And when I make that decision, that product has to work, and that's a top priority for us.
So the next question is one that we got from a number of people. So what are you doing to mitigate harm and the spread of misinformation and hate?
Again, thank you for this question, because this is something I think people really don't understand. We are a sharing platform. We want people to see posts from their friends, from their family, from local communities, from people around the world who motivate and inspire them. We do not want people to see hate, and we do not want people to spread misinformation. And that's really important. And I think there's kind of a meme out there where people believe that this stuff is somehow good for our business. That couldn't be further from the truth. People don't want to see it. People are not delighted by our products. When that happens, we want them to be delighted, and advertisers do not want to be near it. So on every level, we try to get rid of hate. We try to take it down. We try to reduce the spread of misinformation. Now, we're a platform that over 3 billion people use, and that means it will never be perfect. But our goal is to get every single bit of that hate down and make sure people are getting active and good information. We remove voter suppression. We remove COVID and vaccine misinformation. We remove many misinformation that leads to real world harm. And with other forms of misinformation, where people are having active debates, we put up warning labels and give people other points of view. We also really believe that misinformation thrives in the absence of good information. And that's why we're focused not just on removing the bad, but increasing the credible stuff for people to see. COVID was a great example. Over 2 billion people viewed authoritative information about COVID and vaccines on our services. More than 3.3 million Americans used our COVID vaccine finder tool to help get themselves vaccinated. Voting. Our voting information center was visited by 140 million people, and we helped states recruit 100,000 poll workers. So this is as important to us as anything could be. It's also really important to understand that research shows that social media is not the primary driver of harmful polarization. And that does not mean social media is not part of it. It is, and we do all we can to take it down. But in other democracies where social media use has gone up, political polarization is actually declining. And so it is our goal to make sure we understand all of the parts of this problem and be part of the solution. We've heard from people that they want to see less political content, and we are right now testing ways to reduce political content in newsfeed.
So the next one we've heard from our community, but it's also happened to GSBA directly, that LGBTQ content can be incorrectly flagged as adult/sexually explicit or as political content. The company says that it's not intentional, but how are you working to fix that problem?
So I really want to say how important this is. We want our platforms to be inclusive and equitable and safe for everyone, including the LGBTQ plus community. We want everyone to feel welcome. And we want to take down the hate, take down the bad stuff, and leave up the good stuff. The problem is that sometimes our tech gets it wrong. Sometimes we leave up things that violate community standards, and sometimes we take down content that doesn't violate our community standards. And the problems you're referring to are because our automated systems are flagging things that should be left up and taken down. Now that definitely happens, and we try to train our systems to get better and better and better. We are improving over time, but even one person having the experience of their stuff coming down for a false reason is a terrible experience. So if you believe your content was incorrectly taken down, you can always have that decision reviewed. And we work hard with groups like yours to find those nuances and help train our systems so that the stuff we're trying to take down gets down and the stuff we're trying to leave up gets up. So your feedback, the feedback of this community, helps us get it better, and we will continue to do all we can to get this right.
So Meta has created programs dedicated to helping minority communities throughout the pandemic. You've mentioned some already, including the LGBTQ plus community. Can you talk a little bit more about those efforts?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, we want our products to be inclusive of everyone. We want the communities to be inclusive of everyone. We want to make sure that as people find things they want to do, that's inclusive and inclusive. This community is really important to us. As part of our support to small business recovery, we donated $45,000 to this organization, and we've worked together, and this is really important, to help the GSBA, You're Ready for Business Fund, to support LGBTQ plus community and women-owned businesses. And we're really proud of the work that you've done and proud that we can be your partner. And I know looking forward to next year, we're partnering with you to run a training program directly for SMBs in your community. We also work at a national level. We're working with the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce, and we've partnered with 3 LGBTQ plus illustrators to create pride stickers on Instagram. including, and this is important to us, stickers for gender nonconforming, asexual, trans, and gender fluid identities. You know, anytime you're graphically depicting something, it can be too easy to fall into those same old stereotypes. So working directly with these kind of illustrators to get to a much broader range of what we can all celebrate and represent is so important. I'm also really proud of something we just launched, which was a program to help diverse SMBs. It was the idea of a man on our team named Jason. He's head of Meta's supplier diversity. And about a year ago, we have a very big commitment to procure our goods and services we buy from diverse suppliers. But what he realized is a lot of those diverse suppliers were struggling with cash flow. They were getting more business, they were providing the service or the goods, but they don't get paid for 90 days and sometimes not at all. And they have to pay for the goods, pay the people. And if they don't get paid for 90 days, they can't grow. So he came up with a pilot program where we would buy those invoices. We charge a very tiny fee. It only covers the cost of the transaction. We make no money, but we pay the supplier immediately. And then we go out and we are the collection agent. And so he tried this. He pitched this idea to the people like me at the company. And the pilot was so successful. We've now launched it with $100 million, getting it out of pilot into a big program. And we're partnering with 6 orgs to work on this, including orgs that work with the LGBTQ plus community, people with disabilities, women, people of color, veterans. We're directly focused on these groups to make sure we can help them expand. And I just love this program. I mean, it seems like, you know, one of these very like kind of administrative things, buying invoices. But what we're hearing from SMBs is this is a lifeblood of cash for them. And that's particularly important for groups that are historically discriminated against.
Definitely. It sounds like a great program. I'd like to learn more about it as that continues to grow. So my last question for you today is, you're known as an author for your book, Option B. And in Option B, you wrote about building resilience and finding joy after the death of your husband. Can you talk about your experience and how it may apply to people, many who have suffered loss as we begin to emerge from the pandemic?
Yeah, so the story is my story is, and you know, I'm not the only person in this audience to have experienced tragedy. I know so many people watching have, but my husband died very, very suddenly. And I was talking to a very close friend, my friend Phil, about an activity my husband was supposed to do with my then 10-year-old son. And I said, he came up with other ideas. His uncle could step in, other people, but he's, you know, I said, I don't want that. I want Dave. And he said, option A is gone. We're living option B. Let's just kick the shit out of it. Sorry for the curse word in there. Everyone is living in option B right now through COVID. There has been so much loss, so much suffering, so many small businesses closing. You know, people in communities that have been historically not represented, not understood, discriminated against have always lived in option B. So what do? We find that resilience inside. Much as Sarah, this comes out of hardship. Good comes from hardship. That doesn't mean we want the hardship. I would never wish cancer on her mother. I would never wish death on my family. I would never wish the challenges of COVID on anyone. But we actually don't get stronger when things are easy. We get stronger when things are hard. And so right now it is hard. And that is why organizations like yours, Mark, matter so much. Because the work you are doing to support this community, this is when it's hard and this is when it matters. We live in option B, but we can make the most of it. And so I am so proud to be part of the Seattle community. Meta is committed to this community. We are committed to the small business community, to the LGBTQ plus community. We're here to work together in this hard moment for everyone.
Well, Sheryl, thank you for taking your time today to connect with GSBA, to meet some of our small businesses at our earlier roundtable, and for spending this time with me on a very busy day out of your time. It's really great to hear from you, and we look forward to doing more work with Meta and Facebook in the future. Thank you all for tuning in, and we hope to see more of you and in person at some point.
Thank you, Mark, for hosting. Thank you to everyone for joining.
Thank you all.